The Studio Theater of Bath is presenting a play this week dealing with themes of sexual harassment, male privilege, and the breakdown of communication between sexes. It could hardly be more timely, yet the play Oleanna was written by David Mamet 25 years ago.
We sat down with director John Wiley and actor Denis to talk about tackling a play with such serious topics.
The human conflicts, the exploration of how we act when we're put in a situation where we have no control or less control, and try to gain control out of it.
It is a two-character play. You and one other character. What's the basic setup here, John? What's the basic story that's being told?
Basic story is we have a professor who is just about to be given tenure and is trying to purchase a house, who is in an unscheduled meeting with a student who is complaining about her grade.
And then we get into questions of sexual harassment and so forth. There's a lot of dialogue that you have to go through. Mamet he's famous for writing the way people talk. Is that an accurate way of putting the way, what you've got to say, the words that you have to get out?
I think that's a good way to put it. And he fills the script with all of this weird punctuation to try to get across how people talk.
Right.
It makes it a challenge to study and to learn it.
Is it tough because it doesn't naturally flow? It is that sort of choppiness in the way that people do talk in real life, so I would think it's hard to sort of get the rhythms, but that's essential, isn't it?
That's a good point. It's the rhythm that really makes it work. If you get the rhythm wrong, you can kind of feel that, you know, like a band that's a little bit out of sync with each other. And so one of the challenges that we're facing and that we're working on in every rehearsal is finding those points that feel wrong and try to fix them so that they sound natural.
You are acting the whole time on one set, correct? The play takes place in your college professor, your office. You're talking with a student, and when you're talking with her, you're also talking with your wife, who's at home, and you're talking with her on the phone. What are some of the challenges that you have as an actor in doing that particular part of the role, talking simply on the phone, which doesn't sound like would be all that complicated?
Well, the phone actually gets me a little bit upset overall. It seems to interrupt things at exactly the wrong moment, and like you said, with Mamet's style, a lot of the dialogue gets interrupted, so you have to talk on the phone like you're being interrupted, and there's nobody else there to interrupt you.
I would think that's a real challenge to make that real. What kind of advice have you given to Denis in pulling that off?
Really play through in your mind what the responses are, giving enough time in the pauses to make the timing work.
This is a play that's going to push a lot of buttons. This is a play that makes people talk. I saw one review that the film critic Roger Ebert had when he attended the play many years ago, and he said that in just 2 acts, this play succeeds in enraging all of the audience. The women in the first act, the men in the second. He says, I recall loud arguments breaking out during the intermission and after the play. Is that what you want, to get people stirred up and talking?
I think we want to have people take a look at where their boundaries are, what triggers them and where, and have the opportunity to question the validity of where their beliefs end and where their blind spots are.
Would you agree with that sentiment, Denis? What do you hope that the audience will take away?
I think that's a good point. A lot of times you come to a theater for different reasons, and I think Oleanna is a play that it's not so much to go for a good time, but to be challenged and to be forced to think about what happens in the play and how that applies to the world that we live in.
Oleanna is being performed at the Studio Theater of Bath Friday and Saturday at 7:30. There's also a Monday matinee. Those times and dates are available on our website and mobile apps.